All right, welcome to Creator Hardware, and well, Jayztwocent is giving some bad advice, and some other YouTubers are kind of doing the same thing. Let's talk about it. In the video behind me, Jayztwocent is swapping over his operating disk to a new test bench, and he's showing you how to reactivate Windows, and that's kind of why I'm making this video. So let's talk about why it's a bad thing for what Jay is doing to himself. And then we'll talk about why the regular consumer probably shouldn't do what he's doing either. So let's talk about why it's a bad idea for his test system. One, he's using a degraded version of Windows, meaning bloat, meaning registry failures, registry errors. He's going to have software that doesn't apply to his current board. To give an example, I've had Realtek and Intel drivers conflict when bringing over an OS, meaning you have problems with the NIC that's in your system because of old software. And that's just an example. You'll have other issues where like ASUS software is still in the background somewhere. You're slowing down the system running ASUS bloatware on a gigabyte board. Just a lot of stuff that could conflict when he's testing. He already talks about when testing, turn off, Windows Defender, etc., etc. Well, you can't turn off registry errors. Yes, Windows is a lot better than it used to be when it comes to software conflicts. It's not perfect. And the thing is I'm pretty sure this is the third time he's done it with that drive. So this is the third system that drive has been on. It's probably got a lot of crap on it. And he's doing it because he's lazy. Let's be honest. I mean, he's moving it over. He's already got all his game files in. He's logged in, etc., etc. All he's got to do is update drivers and move on. The big problem I see from this is when it doesn't work. Give a simple example. I was swapping GPUs on a system that I used all the time. It was my old gaming rig. I plugged the old GPU back in to do some more testing. After the drivers were all updated, same drivers for NVIDIA, as soon as I went into 3D mode, the system crashed. DDU did not bring the system back. I had to do a complete Windows install. And that was just from swapping GPUs. Now take the average consumer that is not as savvy as Jayztwocent or me or somebody else. But think about it from the average consumer. They swap over their drive and there's a driver conflict with their graphics card and they can no longer play games. And they're going to go through hell, and they might go through the same thing I did. DDU didn't do it. DDU did not fix my driver issues because a file got corrupted somewhere in Windows, not in NVIDIA software. It was how it loaded the drivers for NVIDIA, not the driver itself. And I know it was not the NVIDIA software because I tried several ways to restore it. And none of it worked. It was something got corrupted on the Windows side of it. And you ask the average consumer, they're going to go through hell. Earlier I talked about Intel and Realtek Ethernet adapters and the conflicts I've had with them by themselves. Just switching boards and not processor, not graphics card, and all of a sudden you've got random dropouts of your internet because the one driver doesn't want to work right because system resources, etc., etc., are getting swapped. Uninstalled the Realtek drivers and all of a sudden my internet was fixed. But your average PC user isn't going to know that. You're better off with a fresh Windows install every time. Now, in that video, he talked about how you can reuse your product key. That still applies to a new Windows install. It's a new Windows install, but you can still use your old product code. You just have to call and get it reactivated the same way you did in that video. To give context to the novice thing, how many people complain about slow startup of their PC? And if you go into startup, look at all the processes that start on startup and they wonder why it takes so long to load. You think they're going to be able to fix a driver conflict in their operating system when they can't figure out why Windows is slow to start, even though they're on an SSD? I can tell you, none of the 8 Windows PCs in this household are backed up in any way. The data is none of the operating systems are backed up anywhere. I don't have any sort of snapshot on my NASes. I don't. You want to know why? Because if I have some issue with my Windows machine, I'm doing a fresh install and I will reactivate Windows if needed. The biggest issue is when that corruption happened on your system. Was it this snapshot, the last snapshot? Did you just not realize it 2 weeks ago when it was already corrupted and you just reloaded that and you have the same problem all over again? Just do a fresh Windows install. It doesn't take that time. Yes, the time to reinstall your programs sucks. There's no way around it. But you're doing a fresh install of all of your programs. You know, and I'm going, just my 2 cents, just reload Windows, especially on a test rig. Yes, you might get away without problems, but you're just better off doing a fresh copy of Windows and reloading your programs. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. This is Creator Hardware.